everyone, and thanks, Pamela, for being my host for today. And for everyone who tuned in, I'm so happy to see all of you. Hopefully, we can have fun together sketching using Derwent Inktense. So how do I use Derwent Inktense? I only sketch on location because I'm an urban sketcher. I also sketch at the studio, but that's when I just want to have fun. Most of the time, I would rather go to a place, sketch whatever I see there, and then log it on to my sketchbook or a block or any paper that I have. And then I carry with me some tools that I use most of the time when I'm urban sketching. So I organize my, I'm a little organized freak. So I organize my pencils in a way that I have at least 3 colors of warm, yellow, the primaries. I have blues. I have 4 blues here. So I have browns because, brown. So it's easier to mix, especially for pencils. Because for watercolor, it's different. So I have some greens, yellows, red, and 1 orange, and of course my pens. For those of you who also sketch on location, I would sometimes use fountain pen or line markers. It has to be permanent ink if you want to use watercolors on it. So the things that this organizer or this pencil box helps me a lot. So when you sketch on location, you have to be quick. And especially now that it's getting colder, most of the time you would like to sketch indoors. Well, Florida people, they don't have any problems with that. But for us here, in the East Coast or even the West Coast, during winter, it's hard to sketch on location. So you would rather go indoors, like museums or galleries. And most of the time, they don't like you to use watercolors, not even fountain pen. They would love you to just use pencils. But we can be creative with our pencils. We don't have to just bring, a regular pencil. We can have colors in it. And what's nice about having water-soluble pencils, you can use it dry in the museum or in the galleries, but then you can activate it and work it like watercolors. So most probably some of you have tried it already and have experienced it, or maybe you have more experience than I do, but I'm just going to show you how I do it my way, urban sketching style. Is that okay? So anyway, so aside from the pencils, of course you need your paper. It's good if you have a sketchbook, but as of now, I'm going to show you a demo using this Derwent Inktense paper. This is a 9 by 12 inch paper, which is cold press. So it has texture because I like having textures on my sketches. It has more character, and sometimes without any effort, it's just making the watercolor flow if I'm using watercolor. But as I've said, if we're using pencil and it is water soluble, you can still use it almost like watercolor and it will still flow. I'll show you how. So let me show you what we're going to do today. I'm someone who likes drawing trucks, cars, machines, heavy equipment. I don't know. There's fun drawing in industrial stuff. The messier it is, the better for me. I don't know. I have fun looking at rusty stuff, vintage cars, especially the older the better, or the rustier the better for me, because it has a lot of characters. And that's just me. I just enjoy it. I hope you find enjoyment with that as well. So this is what we're going to do. I think Pamela shared the the link on how to get it. It's also in my link tree. You can also download the image if you want, or if you just want to watch how I do it and then do it later, that's also fine. So, okay, that's my little reference for my little truck. I took this photo so you can use it. You can post it and it's fine. I don't have any issues with it since I'm the one who took that. You're good to go for sketching that. And before we start on this one, let me just give you some exercises that I did. So these are the color swatches that I did prior. Pamela, how much time do we have to do this? Do we have an hour and a half for the whole session?
I think it's an hour. Is that
It's an hour. Okay. So this will be quick. Well, mostly on location, I finish a sketch in an hour or an hour and a half, but with some explanation, it will take a little bit longer. However, I will just show you some of the techniques. I may not be able to finish the whole sketch, but I will just show you how I would do it and some tips and tricks in using watercolor. Inktense pencil, like watercolor. Okay, so how I did this, when you see something and when you have your subject, you would like to try it out first. And before you go out on location and you have your Inktense pencils, you have to try it out and play with your art materials, because that's the best way for you to know how to use it and which color will pop out from your pencil. Because Inktense, this is a fun pencil. It like the name of the brand, it is very intense. So the colors are very vibrant and these are fun colors that you use, but you can also dilute it. So what you have to do is mix and match some of the pencils, so you'll know what color will pop out when you put it on your paper. But sometimes the color here that you see is not the color that will appear when you add watercolor, when you activate it. Okay, so those are my blues. Since it is Thanksgiving season for the US, and for us here in Canada, it's already over, but most of the pumpkins are still out there because it's fall. And it's my favorite season because I love the orange, the yellows, the reds, the purples. That, I might start singing here, so maybe let's move on with all the colors around. So here are the things that I do before I start. The color of the tractor is green. If I don't have that color, just like how we do it when we mix watercolor, we mix some colors together. So what I do is get my blue, which is this is an intense blue. No, this is like a dark indigo, and then mix it with a little bit of pale green. Then when you use your water brush, it will create like a darker teal, pretty much like adding watercolors. But you cannot use your water brush in the museum. So you just have to activate this after you're out of the museum. So these are the fun colors that you can combine. And what I do to lighten it, because Derwent has a white. So this white pencil can use to lighten lighten your colors. Similar to how I did it here. So this is a lagoon. Of course, you put it lighter. That is lighter compared to regular lagoon, which is this color. So that's how you lighten. I mean, that's how I lighten my Inktense pencil using the white. So if you've noticed, I don't have very sharp points because I love doing this with my pencils, and at the same time I'm rolling it with my finger, and at the same time sharpening my pencil. So that saves me a lot of time and a lot of the colors as well, because Inktense pencils are these are mostly like very very high quality pigments in a pencil. So that's it. So you have to just look for the proper combination that you will see for your subject. And like the tractor, I'll just use this printout so it won't be flashing too much on the light. This green, you just have to mix mostly with I use, this is my favorite green. It is a leaf green, and the steel green has this nice sheen with addition of the iris blue or a bright blue pencil. But these are Inktense. So if you have your other water soluble pencils, just give them a try and try to mix and match it. So you'll have a better feel of what colors would be proper for your sketch. So going back to the colors that we're going to use, I like using sun yellow, and this tangerine. So these are some of the colors we're going to use for the sketch. And this is Sherago. So when you're trying to work on this, oops, still has the blue. I just love how it transforms. See, I just love how it flows into the paper. Okay, so let's start sketching, unless you have any questions. Let me know if you have any questions so far. Nothing? Okay. Let's start sketching. Okay. I already taped my board. So to make it easier for us, now I'm going to use this to prop it up a bit. Okay. So when I'm looking at my subject, of course you need to have some composition, but look at your subject in a way that you can easily put it on your paper. What I do usually is measure with my hand, or as I've taught my students when we have face-to-face workshops, not online workshops, I usually cover the subject with my sketchbook. If it can fit, when you cover your subject, when you can cover your subject with your sketchbook, it can fit in your paper. what I mean by that is it's difficult when I'm showing it on online. So, for example, this is your subject on location. It is an actual truck, not a picture. So if you have a small sketchbook and you cover your eye, when you cover one eye, looking at the subject, and you can fit your sketchbook, you can cover it, it can fit on your paper. I don't know if that makes sense. So if you're looking at your subject, for example, it's a big piece of it's a building, it's huge. You have to cover one eye and try to cover the subject with your sketchbook. If it fits, if you can cover it with your paper, it will fit on your sketchbook. Okay, it's pretty much like making the actual subject like a picture, because this can fit in here. I don't know if am I making sense? Is it more complicated? Let me know, because this could be this is just a start. Or like some other artists, they would use a pencil as a viewfinder to check the scale, of the subject, and then before they put it on the paper. Any comment? All right. It's really difficult if you're not on location, because otherwise, most of the time I would be closing my eyes and covering my subject with my sketchbook. But I think it's difficult to do that online. Anyway, so we will start doing the tractor. And what is nice about water-soluble pencils, you don't need to erase it. And for me, I like starting with my sketch. Rule of thirds. Don't put your subject right dead center, because otherwise it's boring. So try to put it off-centered. I'll put our tractor here. So most of the time, I will start from here, which is not really center, and put my horizon line. So you'll know where the tractor will sit. Okay. Oh, it's not clear. Let me try to use something else. All right. I just made it darker. Okay. So I like that comment. Sight measuring using the pencil. Yes, that is true. Okay, so let's start with the tractor. So for me, looking at the tractor, this is pretty much like 3 segments. One here, one here. Like this is a square, this is a rectangle, and this is a longer rectangle. So I will translate this onto my paper. You see what I did? There. This is a square. This is a rectangle. And this is a longer rectangle. Don't look at the details yet, just the shapes. Because sometimes people are intimidated to draw cars. Because they say, like, how do I draw cars? It's so hard. It's not hard. Just look at the shape. Don't look at it as a car. Hi, Jill. Okay, so anyway, so we will translate this onto our paper. So put the tractor right here. Maybe that's too big. Don't make it too perfect. because you're not perfect. We are not perfect. Okay, so rectangle there. That's pretty much. And then what do you see right in the middle? Right in the middle of this portion, that's where you put your car tires or your tractor tires. So that's it. And then you have the middle, the cabin where you will drive, of course, and then you need some space here for all the pumpkins. So, right, this one is easy. So when you have your tractor to this side, it's pretty much dividing it into three. Can you see that? It's pretty much dividing it into three. 1, 2, 3. And then your tire is right in between. So from here to here, that's almost, oh my goodness, it's not seen. It's not seen in the camera. Okay. So can you see what I'm doing? It's not too clear. Okay. Maybe I'll use a different pencil. There. I think that's better. Okay. So don't put too much details because I will be adding some pen marks later, some line works later, but that will come in towards the end. So if you just want to capture this, one pencil, that's about it. And we're almost done with the basic shapes of our tractor. Okay. Any questions? Any
There,
questions?
there is a question that's popped up in the chat about what the difference is between the Inktense pencils and your regular watercolor pencils.
All right. Regular watercolor pens, actually the pencil that I used earlier, it's a regular watercolor pencil. Inktense pencil has more intense colors. They're more vibrant. And they are permanent as soon as it dries. It's compared to regular watercolor pencils that sometimes lifts when you use Inktense, you can add layers and layers to it, especially if you use them like watercolors. And when I'm using just Inktense pens, the Inktense blocks, I would use them like watercolor, and if I have to use it for my shadows, which is great because when you try to capture shadows, you have to be quick because the sun won't wait for you. So what I do is sometimes I would use the Inktense and make my shadows. I will just use this blue or a mix of the brown, but usually this blue or this blue. Put it lightly and then use it for my shadows. If I use watercolors over that, it won't lift. That's what I like about Inktense. And same is true with the pencil. Okay, so we have our tractor, and then that's almost done. That's almost done. Okay, so what I do now, based on this is the good color, which is the teal green and a lagoon, or a darker blue, to make this color, the dark indigo. Okay, so what I do, is I would mix it right here. And as I've said, if we're working quickly, just for you to remember some of the colors, when we're working quickly in a museum where we cannot choose watercolor, or for example, you just have your pencils, you don't have anything else. See, I'm already sharpening my pencil. Just twisting it, turning it. Should be good. There's some of the instances that you use pencils quickly. And another technique I have to show you is I made up this mixing palette. You can see I have some stains on it. So what I do, if you can sketch on location and you have only your pencils, this is my mixing palette. That is my blue. This is my green. And then use a water brush. And you can mix it. That's pretty much the color of your tractor. Can you see it? This is just an ordinary yogurt lid that I scratch with sandpaper to make a rough texture on the top. And it's easy to take this and you can clip it on your board when you're on location. So you can use it to scratch your your Inktense pencil or watercolor pencil. You can also use regular paper. However, it's hard to mix, especially if you use watercolor paper. Because when you use watercolor paper, it will just absorb the colors and you won't be able to mix it, pretty much like watercolor. I don't know if that's something helpful. If that's something helpful to you. So if, for example, you did this portion on location, and of course you want to add some of the tents. If you would notice, this tent is actually on top of the truck. It's not part of the tent of the market. So you can also add just a little bit of the background. It's a little bit of the background. There. And of course, we need a lot of pumpkins. This picture only has small pumpkins here. But in my painting, I made bigger. I made bigger pumpkins. So you wanted brighter colors. Brighter colors for your fall colors. So, and it's your drawing, so you can change whatever you want. So Just add those. All right. Before my computer and my cell phone dies. Okay, so that's pretty much the shape. And we can start coloring. Oh, thank you. You just have to be creative when you're sketching on location as an artist. You don't need to spend too much. You just have to be creative with the yogurt lid and a piece of sandpaper. It will do the trick. Okay, so it's pretty much it. Let me just get some paper towels. Okay, so when I'm sketching, I love leaving some whites, because leaving some white is a breathing space for your subject. And you can add variations to your lines as well. One thing nice about pencils, see it already has the texture with not much effort. So there. It's good that the darks are falling on the right spots. Because when you're just scratching your pencil, you don't really know how it will be like when you activate it. But fortunately, I like how this is blending. I don't know if you can see. Can you see it? Can you see it clearly? Okay. I like how it is blending and giving the texture. That one you cannot get with watercolor. So sometimes if I sketch with watercolor, I still add pencils on top just to, just to add some character to the sketch. There you go. Okay. So that's about it. Now, you already have the shape of the tractor. What I want to do next is add some base to this so we can have some shadows and some focal, aside from your focal point here, you can also focus on adding more depth to your drawing. This is how I do it. While it's still a little bit wet, I can also start drawing with a line marker. That way, you already captured your subject. Okay, so if you have a fountain pen, or in my case, I also like using a line marker, I would immediately use a thicker line marker instead of a thin one. Why? With a thick line marker, I can add the pressure to make it darker and lighten my hold on the pen, so it will be lighter. And then it will also make me want to work on my pen lines faster. So if I'm too tight with my pen, it will drag and I will be adding too much detail, which is unnecessary because we just want to do this quickly, right? So here we go. And what I do, and I'm not particular with details, so I'm fine leaving a lot of details on my sketch because I just wanted to add more values to my drawings. See, the pencil line before was too high, and then I can just correct them with the pen. Anyway, this is a sketch, not your final painting. If you want to do like a beautiful one, the beautiful one you can just do it at home. So this is easy if you just want to do it for your sketchbook. Something to play around with there. So with the small window of this tractor. And then for the tire, so this is just a flat round tire. Just go about it quickly. There. Sometimes you would say, like, so why bother sketching on location? We can take a picture and paint at home. When you do that, you lose the feel of the moment, because it's nice to sketch on location and you'll have all the works. Like, you'll hear people talking, you'll have a feel of the place, you will remember what music was being played on. You can see, especially if you're sketching with the group, it's nice to remember what you were doing and how you did it on location when you were sketching together with friends. If you just take a picture, you took a picture and that's it. And you would notice most of the time, you don't have the same feelings when you look at the painting again. Whereas when you sketch it on location, immediately you will recall the things that transpired when you were sketching it. I don't know if you have the same experience, but that's how I feel whenever I'm sketching on location as an urban sketcher. Okay, so let's do the tents.
And Isabel, just while you're working away here, do you have any recommendations for someone who's wanting to create a limited palette when it comes to working with Inktense pencils?
Oh, with Inktense pencils. I did some demos before when I only actually use two types of pencil. So if you just want to have a minimal set of pencils, bring two blues, two yellows, and two red, or maybe one red, one orange when you go on location. So that's basically my thing. Because pretty much like when you have watercolor, one warmer and one cooler color of each primary. Because with that, you can use this and scratch it and mix any color you want. This is a handy dandy tool. So give it a try when you're on location. Like, if, for example, you're on a board, you can just clip it here and then scratch away. So just two primaries, one warm, one cool, and that's it. Anything else?
There's some curiosity of whether or not you find more ink is used with the cold press paper versus a hot press paper.
It's actually my preference. I prefer using cold press paper for Inktense pencil. Actually, this is an Inktense paper. The cold press is an Inktense paper made for the Inktense line. And what I like about it is the texture. Because I also like working with hot press, but I prefer cold press or the Inktense paper better because of the texture that it can create, both for watercolor and even with the pencils. That's a good question, though. It's a matter of preference. Alrighty, so we're doing some pumpkins here. I won't be putting too much pumpkins on my drawing, but we'll just be playing around. Okay, so I hope some of you are painting along or sketching along with me. It would be nice to see some of your work. Okay. Now we can also darken some of our previous paint. But this will take time. You can do this when you're already at home. So let's use our handy dandy mixing palette. See how you can immediately do that, like watercolor? Easily mix it. There. Any other questions? This. Ah, all right. Okie dokie. So, one thing what I like about Inktense, you can also use this to spatter some colors. And then okay. So now adding some of our pumpkin colors. This is just gold and some yellows. You know, I'm just mixing the colors. I'm just putting the pencils, marking them, but I'm not activating all of them. Okay. Some of it, just the edges, just to define that it's orange. Okay, so let us try that first. And then we'll try to add some shadows. Going back to our chart, we want to make some grays. So we will use some dark indigos. This dark indigo here, plus willow, which is this, which is pretty much like your ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, except it has different names. It's not the actual color, but that's how I make it the equivalent of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna in terms of watercolor. And what I do is mix it. This is the willow. And when you use watercolor, your water brush, you mix it, and it's your perfect gray. So it's willow and dark indigo. Now I'm going to apply my shadow. Okay. Mix it some more. It's pretty much like watercolors when you apply it this way. And if you have a flat brush, that's also good. It's time to use a flat brush. Just let this dry a bit. It's not showing much on the video. There, this is better now. Because it looks dark here with me, but not on the screen. Go. I'm just testing if it's already dry. See if even if I add layers, the color at the bottom is not lifting. This is a Derwent brush. These are all Derwent. Do you carry this, Pamela? These brushes?
We carry some rounds that are found in the Derwent Inktense pan sets.
I see. Oh, okay. What you have are this, the tiny ones on together with the Inktense pot. So because what I like about this one is you can squeeze it and the ink would immediately just go out, and you can control the amount of water that you have in there. Okay. Alrighty, so more shadows. Mm, Just adding some shadows for this one. Actually, you don't need to darken the background too much. Because if you activate the Inktense, it will really spread out like easily. You don't need much. It's pretty much your shadow. Okay. So some of the things that you can add on. So for the 10, I would mix some white to make it lighter. Or sometimes you just use a lighter wash. Okay. So it's pretty much it. And then you can add some of the background. Using a flat brush. If that's better. Just use a flat brush for the background. Suggesting, just adjusting the background. You don't need to complete it. It's nice to leave some of the signs. Space for the sign. And there's another building right here. You want to, of course, use a different color just for variation. So I added some of the browns here, and it also gives some contrast because your tractor is blue. So that's how you add some colors. You just brush along the leftover paint you made from your little palette. You don't need to complete it because it's nice to add some people here to add scale. Because otherwise it doesn't look complete if there are no people. Well, of course, unless that's the only thing you like to sketch is the tractor, and you don't like to add any people, well, that's also good. But as an urban sketcher, I usually add people. It adds life to your sketch if you have people in the background. I'm just adding some base here while you could. And you see we have a sign here, meat market. Another tip, I think I touched the camera. Another thing that I would like to show you is how to make lines. Because it's kind of hard to make lines. What I do is use credit card or card. This is transit card. And this is how I do it. So I can make a straight line out of here. So I would like to add some darks. And one thing good about this water brush is you can squeeze out some paints on it so as not to have just pure blue color. I would add some willow. You notice These are the two other colors that I'm always using, so it's pretty much limited already. And then I mix it. And then for me to make some lines, there's variation in color. It's also be good if you let the paper dry, but sometimes I like it when it's flowing into the paper. And then I can make darker lines after that. You can then put your calligraphy here to say that it's a meat market or whatever shop name there is. So that's my tip number 2. Aside from this, anything handy that you can pick up from your house or from your studio. So, okay, going back here, we will finish this later. I just wanted to add that while the paper is still a little bit wet, because I like how it creates like blobs and different shapes. Okay. Okay. I'm making more darker shadows now. Is anybody else sketching? Yeah, I saw someone saying that they also use it to paint acrylics. Yes, it's very handy dandy, isn't it? Willow is reddish brown. It's this one. There, it's a reddish golden brown. It's not showing much in the camera, but it's reddish brown. Like burnt sienna. Okay. So it's my second layer. Now I'll add more dark. Wait. We can add some people to add some scale. I don't usually define my people. I just want to suggest them. There's a platform on this side. I'm just showing. That looks like a blob, doesn't it? Okay.
So Isabel,
Yes.
Irene's requesting if you could please discuss the difference between watercolor pencils and Inktense blocks.
Oh, Inktense blocks. I don't have um the Inktense pencil and Inktense blocks or
Oh, I guess like
Inktense.
watercolor pencils and Inktense blocks. I guess one's a stick and one's a pencil.
One, once is a stick, but what I know, because uh from what I know, the blocks is mostly based on, it is categorized as watercolor because it's a pigment, but the pencil has some wax into it. It has wax to make it like a to make it a pencil. So uh it's that's, I think that's the difference between it, because pretty much the blocks is like watercolor, but the pencil, it has the same pigment, but it has some wax when it's being made.
Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully we can clear that out with with Lisa when she's back. From that's far as I know, when using when the big difference with the Inktense pencils and the blocks. Okay. Oh, I think it's, I'm just checking out their website. I think the difference is in the binders because the pencil has wax. Yeah, so I'm correct. I was right with that. Alrighty. So where was I? Okay. 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 Just adding some darks here. Okay. So what else am I missing here? Let's add some. For your pumpkins, usually I just add also some darks there, using more browns. Okay. That's pretty much it. You can also spatter with the Inktense pencil. Just wet it with your brush and spatter it there. And add some gold. Okay. Can you see? Can you see it? So do just add. I just like adding some warmth on the lower on the foreground. It's not being seen in the camera. Okay. So what else can I there? Can you see?
Looks great.
Yeah. So
Yeah, look at
starting
all the texture, and there's really some sweet comments here in the chat. People have really enjoyed all your tips
my
for
practical
sketching
tip.
on site.
Yeah, because some of the you know, you just have to be creative with your art tools, and you don't need to spend much. You can have small cheap stuff that goes a long way. You may say the orange is not
No,
really showing, but it's so bright here already.
it does look good on screen. It looks bright.
Mhm.
It's really inspiring to listen to your process, Isabel. Like you have this gift of making art accessible for people. You break it down to its most basic form, and I know that I'm grateful for that, and I'm sure everyone here today is also very grateful for that. So just like a huge thank you.
Thank you. Oh, let's not forget. We can add the meat market as our last step, because this is almost done. Oh, you see, I actually didn't color the tires, but we can add some. Normally, I don't add colors if it doesn't need it, because we already have a dark base, so it it will be too dark and it will just disappear. So what I normally do is just add shadows to the tire. So that's the base of your, let's add some shadows. Basically it. And since you still have some leftover paint, I find these too blank. So what I normally do is just spat on something to make it, to make it lively, to make some variations in the line. And then just for our finishing, we can add, I like to do some calligraphy with the text here. So it says here, meat market, estimate, MEAT, MIT. Okay, so that's what I normally do. Don't complete the letters, so it looks, so it's It looks like it's gesture. Make it a little bit wonky, so it's not too perfect. I don't know. There's perfection in imperfection. And if the lettering is not complete, if for example you run out of space, it's not too noticeable. If for example you have a small sketchbook and you run out of space and your lettering is not perfect, so it's fine. There. Okay, I think that's about it. There. Oh, you know what? I am missing the steering wheel. I'm missing the steering wheel and the tractor. There you go. All right. So that's our little tractor for a quick sketch. Actually, it's not too quick. If I'm not explaining and I'm just sketching, I think it's faster. So that's about it. Any questions? I hope I can see some of your work. Please tag me if you're posting it online. I would love to see your work.
And I will, I'll make sure that everyone has Isabel's Instagram in the follow-up email. So if you want to share your image, right?
Yeah, please. Please let me see your sketches. Thank you so much for those who attended. I hope you learned something.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Hope to see you again sometime. Bye, Isabel.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.